Hey guys, Josh with Smaller Gaming here. I'm going to do a little video on my NES Classic Edition that I've been busting wide open here the last few weeks. What you're seeing here isn't too much of news. This is my NES library. I don't really have that many games on here. I don't know, maybe 90 or so. As far as I'm concerned, this is about as many playable games as there are on the NES. The big difference here is that now I'm able to play games that I haven't previously been able to play because they had glitches like Gauntlet. Before, Gauntlet had some pretty glaring glitches where, like, if you... This is about as far as I would get, and then here, everything would look all crazy. There'd be walls that make no sense, and everything was just a mess. I'm playing with one hand, so I'm really not trying to do anything here. Just to show you that it works. So that's a huge improvement. Another one is that I'm now able to play some of the unlicensed games that maybe didn't have a very good mapper, or a mapper that was not compatible. So I'm going to back out to that. And, whoops, stop it. Let's go to a game that previously, here you go. This is a game that previously was not playable on the NES Mini. So some of these unlicensed games with the weird mappers, they weren't playable at all. And now they are. Although, sometimes they have minor glitches, which is kind of to be expected. So, this in itself really isn't that spectacular. We've been able to do this for a while, roundabout. What is spectacular is we now have the ability to play way more stuff than before. Super Nintendo, before you could only put a few on here before things would start getting bad. Now you can put a lot on here, and I pretty much just have the games that I would play with Super Nintendo. It's not a whole ton, but as you can see, it's not a very short list either. That's a lot of Super Nintendo games, and of course they run great. Give you a little demo. And that's how quickly I die when I play with one hand. So as you can see, I know this plays just fine. Let's go back out. Ooh. So some of the new stuff here, you know, we've got Genesis. I don't have that many Genesis games on here. In my opinion, there weren't that many that were worth playing or owning. Got the Sonic games, of course, they work great. But what's real surprising is games like Vector Man, whereas you take Donkey Kong Country, for example, looks a little pixely now because the upscaling's not too good. The pre-rendered graphics don't lend well to modern TVs. However, Vector Man came out fantastic. And it doesn't look all pixely or messed up, whatever. It looks great. So that was pretty surprising. But yeah, Genesis games, they play beautifully. What else do we want to see here? Game Boy Advance. Now some of these, this isn't quite perfect yet. Some of these games have sound glitches. But it's not, it by no means makes them unplayable. Game Boy works great. and it's Game Boy Color, so if the game was new enough to be compatible with the Game Boy Color, it'll be in color, otherwise it won't. Like Pikachu, Pokemon Pikachu Edition was new enough, so it's in color. See? Pretty colors. So it's kind of weird that it took all this time to finally be able to play Pokemon on your TV, but... So yeah, these were great. For me, the big thing here is being able to play some arcade games as well. I've got a folder here for CPS2 games. And for those that don't know, that's these are Capcom games that some of the best of the 90s. And these again play flawlessly, beautifully. Well, sometimes you get the situations where stuff like this, they play and it's slowed down, or they have you know, frame rate issues. But that's not been a problem. So far, so good on that front. Let's get out of the CPS2 stuff and into something more traditional. These are both running on the Final Burn Alpha cores, by the way. And they work pretty great, although sometimes you're going to have to hunt and choose for the right ROM. So these are 3 Konami classics is what I've got on here right now. I'm sure I could add much more, but these 3 have a special place in my heart. Everybody likes turtles.
Cowabunga! Fire! Hang on, April.
So as you can see, they run smooth. Sound is great, no issues. Play control is perfect. Really happy with the way that this turned out. Kind of weird. I kind of assumed at some point that the NES Mini would get hacked, and that at the most, like, we'd be able to put more games on it, and that was the big, oh, I can't wait to put more games on it. I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be able to play this many systems, let alone emulate arcade games as well. And so far it seems that this thing's only real limitation is its memory, which is rumored to be 300 megabytes, but I'm starting to wonder, because every time it gets just a little bit better. And it seems like now they're working on ways to expand that too, which could be good, could be bad. We'll see. Nintendo 64, Neo Geo, stuff like those also work, although the 64, some games are playable, some are not. And when I say playable, I don't mean that they don't run, I just mean that they look like shit, or they sound like shit, or they have a bad frame rate issue. I know a lot of people say, you know, oh, well, I've got, you know, once you just get a Retropie, and then you've got all this stuff. And here's what I say to that. You can get a Retropie, and really its appeal is the numbers. People, oh, I can get 15,000 games on my Retropie. Okay, how many of those games will you play? Will you play 15,000 games? I will not play 15,000 games. There are not 15,000 games worth playing. Really, when it comes down to it, that number is way lower for me anyway, games that I will sit down and actually play and have a good time with, it's much, much, much smaller. So whether it's just nice to have them around, I don't know. They don't do me any good if I don't play them. So the NES Mini seems to be able to play all the classics I would want it to. And it gets me off of my computer and back onto the couch in front of the TV, which is amazing. It's exactly what I wanted. So, Retropie, NES Mini. Some people are doing some cool stuff with Retropie, and I always like it when I see people put them inside of an NES cart. That's very cool. But for me, it's not quite as cool as a little Nintendo. I mean, as far as cool factor goes, you can't beat that. So, it is what it is. I'm really happy with this, and I'll continue to keep trying to push the limits on this thing and see what I can get going on there. What I have not tried to do is, I'm sure it'll end in failure. Everybody knows I love Killer Instinct. Is there room for the Killer Instinct ROM and its CHD? Probably. Will it run it? Probably not. For some reason, that game, nobody has really updated the files. Nobody seems interested in making it run smoother. Nobody's interested in working with the files, so it's fine. That's something I'm going to be stuck on a computer. I'm going to be stuck on MAME with that one. That's not coming away with me. But everything else seems to be just fine with that. So yeah, I don't know. Trying to think if there's anything else I should cover here. Oh, I really want to shout out to One Loco on YouTube, as well as ETA Prime, who've both helped me out quite a bit in getting these set up, as well as getting especially the arcade emulation, which can be a real bitch, because this system, if you don't put the right ROM on it, if you don't have everything just so in your folders, if you don't, it is quite finicky, believe it or not. And sometimes it will just say, no, I'm not doing it. I refuse. I won't do it. So, as long as you take your time, you get it right, but it can be quite frustrating. Did this part ever make sense to anybody? Why is Smithers stealing a diamond? Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and if I make any more big breakthroughs, I'll let you know. Thanks. Bye.